It's clear that both the science and politics of vaccinations are messy. On the politics side, we tend to focus on the national and state levels, but actually local politicians are the ones closest to the ground. One politician in California says he hears a lot of frustration from his community members, so he's been trying to do something about it. So we're joined now by Peter Hernandez. He's a county supervisor in San Benito, California. Peter, welcome.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
So just for those who don't know, San Benito, it's a small rural county with a large Hispanic population next to the Silicon Valley. And you recently put forward a resolution to reject vaccine mandates, mask mandates, and discrimination based on vaccine. But basically, the heart of it is true informed consent. And you can explain more about that. But there was just a hearing this week, or a vote among the Board of Supervisors, and there was a lot of public input. Can you just describe to me what happened this week?
So the Board of Supervisors voted down my resolution, and I would say the biggest sentiment that was drawn from the public input was frustration and confusion that this wouldn't be supported because, well, two things. One is the state is opening up, and then the second element is it puts the driving force of decision making back into the public's hands. Right? It's not a partisan resolution. It's ultimately, I would say, center of truth. The goal was to get the public engaged in the process, which was always my big push.
How much engagement did you get from the public? I understand there seemed to be quite a bit. Can you explain?
I would say there was roughly around 200 responses from across the country, from across the state, from doctors to lawyers to you name it, engineers. They were all, the average mom trying to understand the implications of this decision-making process. The sentiment that I got was, why wouldn't you support this?
So of all that public input, what % would you say was in favor of the resolution?
99%.
Okay, well, so you did a good job getting engagement, I guess, on it. So, okay, let's go back to the resolution itself. So can you explain, I kind of generalized what the heart of it was, but can you explain really what it means and why you put it forward?
From March, there was questions, and those questions kept growing, right? And hearing the frustration from the public, there was lack of discourse. There was very much this very specific narrative that tried to create a certain outcome. Support for the lockdowns and obviously wearing of the masks, ultimately the vaccine and the efficacy of it as if it was this rock solid benefit. And there's evidence to the contrary. And I'm not, again, from the beginning, I made sure to mention to the board, this is not about me disagreeing with your perception of this, of all of this. My whole goal was to get a conversation to happen so that we made sure to engage the public and ultimately, to a certain extent, create a relief valve. There's a lot of development with frustration from the public that has created consequences. You have meetings being, abruptly ended. You have pushback throughout the state. You have lawsuits surmounting, and then possible liability, which was part of the question, right? So to me, it just seemed very sensical that when I'm proposing a resolution that ultimately puts the responsibility back in the public's hands, then they own that responsibility. When we're given the task of being policymakers, and in that process of trying to create policy with the public input, we come up with the solution, right? Because we're depending on the sounding board of the public to give us their feedback, so that way, whatever we decide on, the end outcome is what's best. We're treating this virus or this policymaking over this virus as if we have water in our hands and we expect it to not fall through our fingers.
Be sure to watch the entire episode, now available exclusively at EpochTV.com, a new completely censorship-free premium subscription platform brought to you by the Epoch Times. See you there.